Welcome to America's Game of the Week, and welcome to a chilly, damp night in Foxborough, Massachusetts, and a good one between the Minnesota Vikings and the New England Patriots. A big game for each on their schedule, and we're glad to have you with us here this afternoon. I'm Joe Buck, along with the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. Aaron Andrews is coming right up. Well, this is an important game, and sticking with the home team, the Patriots are coming off a really good ground attack in that win at the Jets. Over 200 yards on the ground in that victory. Are we going to see the same type game here today?
Well, that's what they would like to do, there's no doubt, because it really helps then with the play action, takes a lot of pressure, of course, off of Tom Brady and that offensive line. However, they're facing the Minnesota Vikings, a run defense, one of the best in all of football. Hard to imagine that the Patriots will be able to run the football anywhere near as successfully as they did last week.
Let's talk the other side. The edict went out from head coach Mike Zimmer after that disappointing loss in Chicago. Quit trying to trick everybody, run the football. A little better last week, so I guess the same question. They come out trying to run it here today?
Well, they may try, but they really have had a hard time running the football all season long. Their strength is their quarterback, Kirk Cousins, and then, of course, their two wide receivers. They throw the ball awfully well. We know that Bill Belichick, when you are one-dimensional as an offense, he can make you suffer. And the Minnesota Vikings are arguably the most one-dimensional offense in all of football. We'll see how they hold up.
Yeah, and for more on the Vikings and maybe some injury updates down to the field, here's Aaron Andrews.
Yeah, Joe, a couple of concerns for the Minnesota Vikings heading into this game for wide receiver Stephon Diggs. They didn't think he'd be able to go today. He experienced some swelling when they got to New England last night, but he went through pregame warmups. I was told he was able to run, accelerate, and cut pretty well. He's good to go. For cornerback Xavier Rhodes, head coach Mike Zimmer saying they think he's going to be on a pitch count with that hamstring injury. They anticipate Tom Brady testing him early, and that'll kind of give them an indication of how he's feeling. Joe?
Aaron, thank you. Stay dry down there. The rain is supposed to stay away for the rest of this evening. A gentle mist is falling on this foggy night, but 51 degrees here on the 2nd of December. And I think this is one of those games that each side circled on their schedule when it came out, thinking it would be important, and it is. Patriots won the toss. They defer, so the Vikings will start at the 25 with the football. And will bring Kirk Cousins to center stage, a 2016 Pro Bowler. And Troy, after a real disappointing game with a couple of interceptions in Chicago on a Sunday night 2 weeks ago, much better last week at home against Green Bay.
Yeah, he was really good, and the big thing for him was that he did not turn the ball over. That has plagued him throughout the last couple of seasons, and in a very meaningful game for him, a lot of pressure, and he came through with a big win.
That's Cook off his right hand, and then he gets popped by a Landon Roberts. Welcome to December, Dalvin Cook. How about this way to start the day?
Yeah, that'll jar some teeth loose. Landon Roberts, the middle linebacker, and they're trying to just get the ball out quick to Dalvin Cook. They tried to get some blocking out in front of him, just unable to connect, but Dalvin Cook absorbed the punishment.
180! On 2nd down and 10, here's Cook. Not much, maybe 2. Dante Hightower was there to make the stop. They've had a lot of changes during the course of the year with this Vikings offensive line. Here's where they stand in week 13 with Reif and Compton, Elflein, Remmers, and O'Neal, the rookie at right tackle. They've got as good a wide receiver combination with Diggs and Thielen as there is in the NFL. 3rd down and 8. Here's Diggs, short of it, brought down by Van Noy, and a gain of 6. It'll be a 3 and out to start the day offensively for Minnesota.
Well, with the New England Patriots are going to try to do is take advantage of some of the weak spots within that offensive line. The tackles overall this year have been decent, but the interior guys, their guards and center, have struggled. So look for New England to overload some of those areas and try to get pressure right in the middle of Kirk Cousins' face. And a nice 3-and-out to start this game for New England defensively.
The punt by Weil. Edelman stays away, and it will end up out of bounds inside the 20. I think that was as emotional and as fired up as I've ever seen Bill Belichick. He's clapping his hands, patting guys on the shoulder as they were coming back after a 3-and-out defensively, and here comes his star. And as you have said publicly before, we've had him in the Super Bowl a few times, the best to ever do it. Tom Brady taking over for New England.
Incredible, 41 years old, and I think that he weathered the toughest part of the season. You know, when he came into the year and with Julian Edelman being down and he's minus a couple receivers from last year and all the adjustments, they are beginning to get healthy at just the right time.
False start. Offense, number 87. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Well, that's Rob Gronkowski, who has missed 3 of the previous 5 games with ankle and back issues. He played last week and scored a touchdown at the Jets. Here's where they sit offensively here in week 13, and their offensive line is healthy and ready to go. And you can say the same for their rookie running back, Sony Michel, coming off his best game in the NFL, 133 yards on the ground at the Jets. So the false start by Gronkowski, and now it's 2nd down and 15 as Edelman is missed. We look at this defense, which you just expect it to be good. Their head coach Mike Zimmer leans more toward the defensive side, and they seem to be hitting their stride here late in the year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We had the game back earlier in the season, week 4, when this defense gave up over 550 yards to the Los Angeles Rams. But since that time, it's been hard to move the football against, hard to score points.
2nd down and 15, and the pass is caught by Edelman. He's short of the first down and got brought down by Mackenzie Alexander immediately with an awkward tackle, and it's a 13-yard gain, 3rd and 2.
Pretty soft coverage there by the Minnesota Vikings. Free access off the line of scrimmage, a clear lane for Brady. That was an easy 13-yard pickup.
5th year as head coach of the Vikings for Mike Zimmer. These are 2 Bill Parcells disciples going at it. Belichick and Zimmer, and a lot of respect between the two.
Go.
Just got it away. Pass is caught. Easy first down. Hogan. Patriots sideline looking for a face mask call. There's no flag. A 19-yard gain, and Xavier Rhodes evidently didn't grab it, but a first down for New England.
Well, what happens is Anthony Harris, number 41, it looked like he got a little bit confused with coverage, did not go with Chris Hogan to the flat, and it just gives him an open shot and an easy first down, easy completion then for Tom Brady. We saw Harrison Smith, he does that. He comes down, he tries to disguise coverages, then he shoots back to the middle. It looked like it might be an all-out blitz, but it was not.
Pass is underneath. Patterson, the former Viking, left alone, and they're using Cordero Patterson all over the field, and he's good for 24 yards.
Well, they bring Cordero Patterson down, and they make it look like he's blocking off of the play action. Eyes go to the backfield. That's 2 plays now where just busted assignments by this defense have left that open, left flat, wide open for the completion.
Former first-round pick by these Vikings back in 2013. Patterson has run it, returned kicks, and caught it. Another throw, and it's Rex Burkhead who's back and active after a neck injury and time on IR, and this is becoming an impressive opening possession for the New England Patriots as Kendricks brings him down with a gain of 15.
Well, when I talked about this team getting healthy at the right time, Rex Burkhead's return was one of those reasons for the comment. And he has been practicing for the last couple of weeks, and they've missed him. I mean, he went down early with the neck injury. He's been on IR, but he gives them a little something in the passing game that Sony Michel, as a young player, simply doesn't provide.
Brady has started 4 for 5. He's found 4 different receivers. They finally run it. Edelman down near the 2. The ball comes out. And they're going to say that Edelman was down before the ball came out, and it certainly looked like that was the case. A 15-yard gain to set up 1st and goal.
Well, they run the jet sweep, and yeah, he was down.
And he was clearly down, and then the ball popped out. It's 1st and goal. Ball sitting at the 1. Carey, Michel. Short. Got half a yard.
Eric Kendricks, number 54, he filled the hole, and once he made contact with Sony Michel, Michel didn't go anywhere. He's right here, 54. He plugs the hole and does a great job. And of course, Linville Joseph comes in and helps finish him off.
So 2nd and goal. Handoff is to Devlin for the touchdown. His 2nd of the year. Impressive start for the defending AFC champs.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Against this defense that we've been bragging about as to how stingy they have been. And Tom Brady and company, they just went right through them on their opening drive.
James Devlin came into this game with 1 carry for 1 yard for 1 touchdown. He's got 2 carries for 2 yards for 2 touchdowns on the season, and New England leads 7-0 as Gostkowski knocks it through.
He'll be on my fantasy team next week.
Well, you can pick him. There is no doubt. If you want a team to finish middle of the pack or below, have Aikman pick your players.
I should have started him today. He's already on my roster.
Well, a good start for New England, and we'll see how the Minnesota Vikings, who, by the way, are trying to become the first team to beat Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady in back-to-back weeks. We'll see how they respond down by 7 here on the road. Brady started 4 for 5, 70 yards. Completions of 13, 18, 24, 15 yards. Not much down the field, just a lot of catch and runs.
That was a lot of good scheme by Josh McDaniels, and being able to scheme guys into the flat off of some of the play action, some of the looks that taking advantage of some of the aggressive looks that Minnesota was providing at times as well. It was a nice job.
Another drive that'll start at the 25. Talked about how they've moved a lot of bodies around up front on this offensive line. Here's how the Vikings started week 1. Then Elflein got healthy, was inserted week 4 as a starter. They have that rookie out at right tackle. They've had Isadora at left guard. Now it's Tom Compton at left guard. Reef, who is their anchor out at left tackle, missed weeks 6 through 8. They're back intact. And down by 7. Cousins to the flat. Dalvin Cook. A gain of 5 to start this drive, and off we go to Carissa with a game break.
Big show. Giants-Bears tied at 27 in overtime. Aldrick Rosas hits this 44-yard field goal. Giants win 30-27. Go Troy Nance.
Well, that's a big game for the Vikings and what they were paying attention to coming into this game. So now Minnesota with a win, they'd be only a half game back. They had that week 2 tie up in Green Bay. Here's Cook on on 2nd and 5, and he's out of bounds near the marker. And it looks to be enough for the first down of the game for the Vikings, and it is.
Well, it's been a struggle for this rushing offense for the Minnesota Vikings, and it really has not been because of these backs. I think both of them are really good backs. We all know what Dalvin Cook was last year prior to his injury, but the offensive line has had a hard time getting some movement. So the fact that they were able to have a nice run there by Cook is a good sign.
Play action. Cousins finds Rudolph, his tight end. And Rudolph, with that knee down, we'll see what they give him. And he looks to be enough for a first down, and that was a generous spot. We welcome in the audience that was just watching the Bears and the Giants. Giants win that game, so for Minnesota, opportunity trying to take care of business before they have a Week 17 matchup at home against Chicago. On first down, here's Cook. A lot of room. And Dalvin Cook. A big run on first down, forced out by Jackson, but a carry of 32 yards.
Haven't had many of those. Kyle Van Noy, he goes to the outside, and then Landon Roberts does not fill that gap, and just a huge crease for Dalvin Cook. You're going to see Landon Roberts, 52. He doesn't step in, and a lot of room then to run. J.C. Jackson, the corner, also in a position to fill the hole.
Down, 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 down.
So a first down, delayed handoff. That's Latavius Murray. Got half a yard. Lawrence Guy was there to make the stop. We look at this defense for Bill Belichick. And it comes in as the 22nd ranked defense, and you see where they are against the pass. They only have 17 sacks as a group, and that is the fewest ever under Belichick. At this type of pace, the fewest for a season is 29 back in the 2000 season. They have to get to work to get over that low bar. On second down, there's a sack right on cue. Adam Butler got there and a loss of 8. Second sack of the year for big number 70.
Well, good coverage then by this secondary, and as a result of it, Kirk Cousins is having to hold on to the football, and then time just went out, and they collapse on him with Adam Butler. You talk about the lack of sacks, even though they just had one. Last week against the Jets and Josh McCown, they still roughed him up pretty good. So they were able to get pressure. They just haven't always gotten home like they just did.
Third down and 17. Cousins gets rid of it, and the pass is incomplete. With Van Noy bearing down on Kirk Cousins, it's fourth down. Back-to-back plays, they got through. A sack, and then this errant throw forced by Van Noy. Punter, Matt Weil, who's the holder, was late getting out there before a 48-yard try. It's got to be a little disconcerting for Dan Bailey, who's been anything but automatic. And misses another. The snap by Kevin McDermott. Weil, who was late getting out there, got it up, and Bailey hooked it left. 7-0 New England. Well, it's a miss by Dan Bailey. Kicking troubles have just plagued the Vikings over the years, especially since Zimmer's been there. Says he's got total confidence in Dan Bailey, despite what he said at the half last week on Sunday night. Problems on that kick might have started before Bailey's right foot got involved. as Matt Wild, who would have been out on the field no matter what. It was 4th down. Either you punt or he's holding for the kick. Everybody's waiting for Wild to get out there. He ran on the field with about 11 seconds left on the play clock, got it away, and Bailey hooked it. 2nd down and 3. Here is Michelle trying to bounce it, and that is well played by Everson Griffin. No gain on the play. 3rd down coming up.
I think Mike Zimmer saying that he had confidence in Dan Bailey. I think he's just trying to use a little psychology in that case, because he hasn't done really much to give Mike Zimmer much confidence. He says he makes them in practice all the time. He never misses, but that's like saying you hit great shots on the driving range. You got to do it in the game. It doesn't matter what happens during the week. And he missed 2 last week against the Packers, and now he misses his first one in a very important ball game.
Third down and 3. Blitz coming from Alexander, and Brady is out. Brady's got the first down, and Brady is up to 1,000 rush yards in his 19-year NFL career on the button. He needed 5, and that was good for 5 and a first down.
Well, what's interesting is last week when you're playing Aaron Rodgers, you're really mindful of him getting outside the pocket. You want to maintain him. Well, now Brady, because he's not known as a runner, you're feeling like you can just pin your ears back and come after him. And even Tom Brady's a little surprised with the yardage he picked up for the first down.
So on first down, the handoff to Michelle, and over the right side, Sony Michel, the rookie from Georgia, and the 31st pick in the most recent draft, gets 4. Daniil Hunter on the stop.
Well, you talked about the game that he came off of, and that gives a young guy a great deal of confidence. He's able to go out and run the football the way that he did. They're expecting a lot more days like that. We wouldn't anticipate, as we said coming in, that it would be tonight against this Minnesota rush defense.
There it is, 1,000 yards on the button for Tom Brady. Patriots have run it 7 straight times prior to this, and he throws it into the ground, Brady does, at the shoes of Julian Edelman. So that'll bring up a 3rd down and 6, and we'll see if this Vikings defense can get a stop.
Well, they've been so good on 3rd down. The Vikings defense has been. They're number 1 in the league, giving up just 27%. They were number 1 last year as well on 3rd down. And outside of their last 2 defeats to the Saints and to the Bears, nobody has had much success on this down against them.
Like it will.
Kendricks bails out of there, and the pass is dropped by Edelman. You had Kendricks right there, you had Barr right there, and then Harrison Smith was acting like he was coming off the edge. Zimmer keeps it fun, but that should have been caught.
That should have been caught, and had he have caught it, he picks up the first down, and the Patriots would have been then 3 for 3 on 3rd down. So that's why they were able to go down on the first drive and come away with the touchdown.
Ryan Allen punts it. And a fair catch called for and hauled in by Marcus Sherrills. Edelman knows he should have had it. Shake of the head. Vikings with the ball down 7. Talked about the connection to the great Bill Parcells. Both these head coaches, defensive coordinators for Bill Parcells, and Bill Belichick won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants in '86 and '90. The handoff here is to Latavius Murray on first down. He gets 4, and then Mike Zimmer, in his 5th year here with the Vikings, was the defensive coordinator for Bill Parcells in Dallas back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and Mike Zimmer, when he became Parcells' defensive coordinator, he was a holdover from Dave Campos' staff. And that's not typically the way that Bill Parcells works, but he saw something in Mike Zimmer that he really liked. I think the years that Mike Zimmer was under Parcells, he learned a great deal that obviously he carries with him to this day.
Second down and 6. Last drive ended with a missed field goal. Here's C.J. Ham, the fullback. A yard short of a first down. John Simon was out there to make the stop with Jason McCourty. It'll be 3rd and 1.
Well, you talked about it, Joe, coming in as far as John DeFilippo, the offensive coordinator, and kind of what he's done with this offense as the play caller. And yes, they have been very heavy throwing the football. And Mike Zimmer, as a defensive coach, has mandated to him that he wants to run the ball more. They have shown balance here in the early going, but we know that DeFilippo will not stick with the run game if they don't have success with it.
3rd down and 1. Over the middle, pass is caught by Dalvin Cook for an important first down to keep this drive alive with a minute left in the opening quarter. Gain of 5.
That's a great job by Kirk Cousins. He's trying to get the ball down the field, but he knows this offense extremely well, and he knows then where his outlets are, and only needing to pick up a few yards, he comes right down to Cook, and that's an easy first down.
Fake it a few times, finally throw to Dalvin Cook, and he loses 2 as Dante Hightower made the play. And that could very well end quarter number 1 here in Foxborough. We'll see. 2nd down and 12.
That's a really nice play by Dante Hightower. The left guard, Tom Compton, they're trying to get him out to block him, and he just goes right past him and makes a great play on the ball. Dante Hightower, he's got great size and power and some of the things that he does so well.
Let's go to the second. Patriots up 7. Back after this from your local Fox station. Josh McDaniels trying to guide his offense through this first half here against the Minnesota defense. Patriots have the game's only points. Waiting for Diggs and Thielen to get involved. Diggs 1 catch, 6 yards. Thielen 1 target, no catches. Combined for just under 2,000 yards receiving through 11 games so far. 2nd down and 12. Here's Ham, the fullback. Makes the 3rd down a little more manageable, a gain of 6, and Malcolm Brown peeled back and made the stop. Talked about the Vikings' 3rd down defense for New England. They are number 25. 25th ranked defending 3rd downs through 11 games.
Yeah, and sometimes you have a game that's just a big number, and so those numbers are inflated for a good part of the year. That's not the case with them. They have not been good on 3rd down for pretty much all year.
Cousins out to his right, passes short of Dalvin Cook. And there was plenty of pressure on Kirk Cousins. Trey Flowers got through.
Well, they'll move Trey Flowers around, but they like the matchup of putting him on the nose against Elflein. Elflein, who had a good rookie season last year, has struggled here in his sophomore season, and they want to take advantage of that. Trey Flowers is their best pass rusher. That's a matchup that they like, and that time Flowers disrupted the play.
Matt Weil was on time for this upcoming punt. Hangs it high. Edelman from the 25. No room. Ball's out, says the Vikings bench, but the official says nope. Knee was down. 47-yard punt, 6-yard return. Patriots have the ball and the lead. 2nd quarter. Every Sunday and now on Thursdays, I get to stand next to a guy who won 3 Lombardi trophies. That guy has won 5, most by any quarterback in NFL history, as Burkhead carries and has a lot of room. Got about 9.5. And they've been generous with these spots. They're going to give him 10 as Tom Johnson downfield made the stop. 1st down.
That looked like a guy with fresh legs, didn't it?
Yeah.
He got that ball and ran hard. And then here's Rob Gronkowski, and his blocking is well known around the league. People talk about what he's able to do as a receiver. I thought last week against the Jets he was outstanding in both run blocking as well as pass protection.
How about this play? Fresh legs or not? Stephen Weatherly gets through and dumps Burkhead for a loss of 4. That's a big play by this Minnesota defensive line.
Yeah, breakdown there up front along that offensive line. I don't know if it was Marcus Cannon, the right tackle, or Gronkowski, but they just turned Weatherly completely free, and Burkhead is saying, hey, can somebody block that guy?
He was on IR. Put him on week 4 with a neck injury. And he is back, had the good run, then lost 4, 2nd and 14. They fake it a couple of different directions and just a little shove to James White. He hits Kendricks, or Kendricks hits him. A gain of 8, 3rd down coming up, and so is Carissa with a game break.
Thanks, Joe. Patriots chasing the Chiefs in the AFC, and Patrick Mahomes play action finds Travis Kelce for this 3-yard score. They would add 2 field goals. They're up on the Raiders 13-0. Joe Troy-Name.
Yeah, you start to look at this AFC playoff picture. Kansas City looks like they're marching their way toward a 10-2 record. The Patriots are 8-3 coming in, and the Texans now have won 9 straight. They're 9-3. Just a little touch to White for the first down, and the creativity continues for Josh McDaniels in this Patriots offense. A gain of 11.
Well, it looked like Eric Kendricks was in man coverage on White, but Harrison Smith, who's trying to disguise the coverage right here, kind of gets in his way, and it keeps Kendricks from being able to get to him in time. So yeah, you don't anticipate that Harrison Smith is going to get in the way of your tackler who's assigned in man coverage, but that's what happened, and that was a nice pickup, running the ball there on 3rd down.
Yeah, another conversion for the Patriots against this good Vikings defense. Here is White again. He's been busy. Got another first down, spinning inside the 30. Harris eventually brought him down, but a catch and run of 15 yards.
Well, they get Shaq Mason, the right guard. They get him out in front, and they time this up awfully well. So they create the nice block. It gives the inside break then to James White, and he's a jitterbug when he has the ball in his hands. He's really more receiver, more slot receiver than he is running back. And what a weapon he is coming out of the backfield.
3 straight catches. We saw what he could do in Super Bowl 51. Here's Patterson. Patterson on the handoff, brought down by Kendricks, a gain of 6. Speaking of 6, in just 6 days, the MLS Cup will be lifted in front of one of the most electric crowds in all of sports as Atlanta United takes on Portland Timbers, Saturday at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox, or watch anywhere in the Fox Sports app.
I think I'd give the ball a few more times to Cordero Patterson. You got to believe he's pretty fired up for this one as a first-round pick by the Minnesota Vikings when he came out of college.
Toss to Burkhead, running right. A yard short of a first down. Well, Mike Zimmer admitted during the course of the week that the Patriots, now players down, Patriots have been using Cordero Patterson much more to their advantage with his skill set than they did in his time with the Vikings. By handing it to him, letting him return kicks, which he's one of the best in the game at doing that. Trey Waynes is down. They'll look at him before a 3rd and 1. We'll take a break. Aerial coverage is brought to you by State Farm as we take you to the action before a 3rd and 1. And look at the helmet get kneed. Part of Trey Waynes, and he's in the tent getting looked at after that collision. Handoff is to Michelle, and Sony Michel, who starred at Georgia, is able to drive that pile forward for a first down.
We talked about how good this defense has been on 3rd down, but here in the first half, the Patriots are converting 80%. They're 4 for 5. Some of those have been short yardage like that one was, but they've been very efficient offensively. And what we've seen on this drive is the Patriots have really attacked them more on the edges with the screen game, and then, of course, the reverse that we saw, the jet sweep to Cordero Patterson.
Patriots back in the red zone. They're 1 for 1 down there, scoring a touchdown. Here is a quick throw to Burkhead. Breaks a couple of tackles and takes it inside the 15, where Weatherly knocks him down a gain of 6. The most wins in December since 2001, when this group, well, at least 2 guys, Belichick and Brady, won that Super Bowl. They own the month of December, and they are just deadly at home. You just don't win games here really ever, but especially late. 2nd and 4. Handoff is to Burkhead. Nothing.
I think what's interesting, Joe, when you look at the Patriots model when they come into the year with free agency and every year is a different team, 25-30% or more of turnover with your personnel, Bill Belichick and his staff, they really view the first month of the season an extension of training camp, and no other team in the league do we see virtually every year just continue to get better and better and better and start to figure out who does what well, put them in those positions, and they hit December and they're off and running heading into the playoffs.
3rd down and 3. Here's James White with another first down and another catch. Kendricks on his back. Gain of 4.
Yeah, I mean, good luck for Eric Kendricks when he's trying to guard James White. When he comes out of the backfield and you don't know if he's breaking out, if he's going to hook up, if he's going to go take the middle, and it's a tough assignment. He breaks out with his speed. He's going to create separation virtually every time. We've been watching it for many years now.
Brings up 1st and goal. White with 4 catches on this possession for New England. Blitz by Smith. Sonny Michel runs to the opposite side, over to the right side, and picks up 1.
Well, that's Weatherly, who's having a pretty nice first half. Here for Minnesota defensively, he's able to shed Marcus Cannon. They brought Harrison Smith on the blitz. Looked like the Patriots had the perfect call against it, but the Vikings were able to defeat the blocks and make a stop.
13th play of this drive. Trey Waynes has gone inside now to get further evaluated after that knee to the head.
Here's the matchup here with Josh Gordon and Xavier Rhodes.
Brady throws. Edelman. At about the 1.5 to bring up 3rd and goal.
What I think Edelman does so well is just knowing where the holes are within these zone coverages, and makes it really friendly for a quarterback when you've got a guy who's as quick as he is, and when he hits the hole and he just turns immediately and shows his numbers. That's a good feeling down here in these tight spaces in the red zone.
Empty backfield behind Brady. There's Hogan. 3rd down and goal. Brady, pass is broken up. No flag. Edelman was the target, and good coverage by Anthony Harris, who is now the starter at safety as Sendejo has been put on IR.
Well, they pass it off. Anthony Harris does a great job. They're trying to pick the corner inside. Brady, he wants a call, but the Vikings, they played it perfectly. They're anticipating the pick. They come off of it and are able to keep the Patriots out of the end zone.
Crowd didn't like it. We'll find out if Mike Pereira liked it with the 20-yard try by Gostkowski. Like an old extra point to make it a 10-0 Patriots lead. But a big stop for the Vikings inside their own 5. 5:45 left in the half. Well, the play made by Anthony Harris. We'll give you another look at it at some point here. Mike Pereira, you agreed with the no call, right?
I really like the no call because you have to look at this in real time. When you slow it down, he gets there just a bit early, but in real time, you can't make those calls. You'd be absolutely guessing.
So a 10-0 game. And Amir Abdullah, the former Detroit Lion, full head of steam. Good return. Out near the 35. Well, we've seen some history here today in the career of Tom Brady. Here's a special message about Tom's most recent milestone.
His desire to be the greatest defined his career.
I remember watching Tom Brady when I was a kid. 1,000 yards in 20 seasons. That's like 50 yards a season. That's impressive.
Proving that just because you can throw it doesn't mean you have to.
Now, I know he's going to the Hall of Fame for his arm, but he really should be going to the Hall of Fame for his legs.
Run for it. Makes a move on Urlacher.
You know, Tom Brady had just enough swivel in his hip.
Run, Tommy, run.
1,000 yards in the career of Tom Brady in his 19 years.
Well, he's averaging 5 yards a carry here tonight, so pretty good.
Here's a handoff to Cook, and Dalvin Cook with a nice run into Patriots territory. A good start to this drive for Minnesota, a carry of 18 yards.
That's nice action there. Try to get the defense moving a little bit. They pull out Elflein, the center, and he helps kind of lead the way. And these big chunk plays like this, they've had a couple of them now in this game, running the ball. That helps, and no one likes seeing it more than Kirk Cousins.
Dalvin Cook has started at over 14 yards a carry. 4 rushes, 57 yards. 5 minutes left in the half. The Patriots 48, catch by Cook. Let's just give you one final look, at least for now, at that Julian Edelman play. And Troy, I know you like the way they handed this off.
Well, yeah, it's man coverage, and yet the Vikings, they're anticipating the pick, and so Harris comes off of it, which is excellent. Here's a closer look that, like Mike Pereira was saying, yeah, he clearly has the right arm wrapped around the waist, but I agree with Mike. I thought it was a bang-bang call, very difficult on the officials, and down there in tight quarters, you're not going to get that call most of the time.
2nd down and 7. Here is Cook again. Good spin. A flag is down, and this is only the 2nd flag we've seen since the Patriots' first play on offense.
Holding. Offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
They get the left guard, Tom Compton. That's his 3rd penalty of the season.
There he is coming in on the left of the screen, and that's a hold. A hold on Malcolm. He was holding Malcolm Butler, and I talked about, we showed the lineup changes with this offensive line throughout the season. Hard to develop some continuity when you're moving the parts around so often. But Tom Compton, he has struggled this season, as has his counterpart on the other side, Mike Remmers.
Looks like Diggs is lined up offside at the snap. They don't throw a flag, and Diggs and Cousins are not on the same page. So after that good carry by Dalvin Cook, they get the holding call. Now they misfire on 2nd and 17. It's 3rd down.
Yeah, they get backed up. I make a correction there. I think it said Malcolm Butler, Malcolm Brown. Of course, is their big run stuffer inside that Tom Compton was called holding.
I think
they still haven't been able to get Thielen involved, the guy who has 9 100-yard games.
Belichick may have been arguing for a grounding, but the quarterback was not under pressure. Hence no flag. 3rd down and 17. Extra men on the rush. Here's Murray, and there's a good tackle made by McCourty. And that's Devin making the stop. A gain of just 3.
It was that inside pressure, because if Cousins has time to throw, he could have gone to Adam Thielen, who's running a dig route. They made it look like it was going to be cover 2 right here. But Devin McCourty, then he comes up, and he's the one who then makes the tackle on Latavius Murray. Once he comes out of the deep quarters, it opened things up for Thielen, but Cousins couldn't hang with him.
Weil with a punt. No flag. Even though Weil ended up on the ground as Edelman hauls it in after a 36-yard punt. 10-0. Patriots on top. So tough to beat here at home. This drive for New England starts inside the 20. Sitting at the 17-yard line. 1st down, up by 10. Handoff is to Michelle. Takes it across the 20. Let's go down to Aaron Andrews.
We saw cornerback Trey Waynes go into the locker room. He is out for this game, guys. You see what happens here with the knee to the helmet. That means the undrafted rookie Holton Hill comes in for him. And remember, we reported at the beginning of the game, Xavier Rhodes came into this game with a hammy. Mike Zimmerman saying he will be on a pitch count, so they're a little banged up, obviously.
Yeah, so no Rhodes, no Waynes. And on that first play, at least, Mackenzie Alexander wasn't out there. Pass is caught by Gronkowski. And we'll see what kind of forward progress they give him. He was up to the stick, and Harris on the stop. It's a first down.
Yeah, no, Mackenzie Alexander, he is also on the sideline. So now you're without Trey Waynes, you're without Xavier Rhodes. Their third corner, Mackenzie Alexander's out of the game. They're now on their fourth and fifth corners are in with Holton Hill, the undrafted free agent. He's gotten some playing time, but a young player, and then Marcus Sherrills. Those are the two corners in the game.
That was the first catch for Gronk. Brings us to the 2-minute warning for the Patriots up 10. Well, during the break, about 25 seconds ago, Mike Zimmer threw the challenge flag. Was hesitating on the call. They've been doing a lot of this really this entire first half. Here's the catch by Rob Gronkowski. The ball's in his left hand. They blew the play dead, and yet they gave him enough for a first down. Zimmer, who's 0 for 3 on challenges on the year, throws the flag, and he should move to 1 for 4. And if so, then it's going to be third down and inches. Talking about how good these Patriots are here at home, the numbers are really staggering any way you look at it. 124-20 here in this stadium, which dates back to 2002. 75-8 for the Patriots since 2007. I mean, you come here any time of year, let alone late in the year,
especially
good luck. Yep. Mike, you saw what I think the booth saw for Mike Zimmer, that Gronkowski looked short.
Yeah, and we'll get the announcement from Craig Rolstad.
After review, the ruling on the field has been changed. The runner was short of the line to gain. It'll be third down and 1/2 yard at the 26.5-yard line. Minnesota will not be charged with a timeout. Timer, please reset the game clock to 2 minutes and 28 seconds and wind on my signal.
And Craig is right, and the thing is, some people will wonder why at the 2-minute warning, why did it have to be a challenge? Because the booth doesn't take it over until the first play after the 2-minute warning. So now we're going to have a second 2-minute warning, and depending on what we need television-wise, it might just be a 30-second timeout when we reach the 2-minute warning.
We'll see how significant the challenge was based on what the Vikings are able to do here on third and short. They can make a stop here and get the ball back to their offense. Their offense has had a tough time here in this first half, less than 100 yards of total offense.
And the game clock will wind. So we see the difference with the game clock and the play clock. Will have a play before the 2-minute warning. Third and inches. It's a direct snap. It's White. He didn't get it. Man, was that well played by the Vikings. First it was Alexander, and then White gets swallowed up by Danielle Hunter. And a stop. What a good challenge by Mike Zimmer. Mike's about to get it back. A 10-0 game, and now it's fourth down and a full 1. As Mike Zimmer challenged, brought up third and inches, and then his good defense made a stop, a big one. Allen punts it. Sherrills over to his right from inside the 25. No room to run. Let's go back to that play on defense.
Yeah, Mackenzie Alexander, as we know, he's the one who slows him up initially, but watch Danielle Hunter and the job that he does and the traffic that he has to get through with these blockers. He gets through Gronkowski, he gets through Edelman, and then he's the one who makes the play. And without Hunter, I think that White probably picks this up, even though, as I said, Mackenzie Alexander was there to make a play, and yeah, you wonder 3rd and inches, what's the challenge worth? That's a lot of confidence in your defense being able to make a stop, and now we'll see if the offense can get it rolling.
Just outside their own 25. Quick throw, that's Diggs. And Diggs is able to drive to midfield. 7 of Kirk Cousins' first 9 completions were to running backs. They've got to get something down the field, and they get a 24-yarder to Stephon Diggs.
Kirk Cousins recognizes the pressure off the slot and went to Diggs, which is where he needed to go with the ball for the big play.
Here's one for Rudolph. What a good catch, and shows off the terrific hands. He went over Patrick Chung. That's the matchup we'll see all game, and just snatched it for 23 yards.
Yeah, and on both plays, the Patriots have brought the extra blitzer, and the Vikings have made him pay. Kirk Cousins, a perfect throw to the big man, Rudolph. That's where you want to put it, to the guy that size.
Here's a cutback by Dalvin Cook on first down with under a minute to go, but 3 timeouts in the pocket for Mike Zimmer. That carry for 5 yards. McCourty on the tackle.
This is well done. The idea is that Cousins has struggled with pressure, and he's turned the ball over, but he has been on point on this possession on both times they've brought it. They're showing it again.
Pass is caught. That's a first down to Aldrick Robinson, and we'll see, and they do. The Vikings take their first timeout. Here's Carissa Thompson with a game break.
Thanks, Joe. Seahawks 49ers. Seahawks currently the 7th seed in the NFC. Russell Wilson's going to air this one out to Tyler Lockett for a 52-yard score. Lockett's 9th of the season. Hawks leading this one 13-0. Joe Troyner.
All right, so Seattle trying to stay hot. That catch by Kyle Rudolph. It's one thing to go up over the smaller safety at 5'11" for the big body Kyle Rudolph. But then to hang on, going to the ground with Patrick Chung trying to knock it out of there. That was a strong catch.
Yeah, and he's a guy who's a real weapon now, even more so once you get into the red zone. Like you said, it's 6'6". You know, Cousins knows that that's where you put the football, and Rudolph is not an overly fast guy, but he's good at using his body, and he can make adjustments if you give him a chance and put it up higher, which they were able to do. Keep an eye on Rudolph right here. He is a red zone threat down here.
He has been the 2 previous years, not as much this year. Here's Cook out of the backfield. Van Noy is right there. And then J.C. Jackson comes up to help. No gain on the play. 25 seconds left. Coming up on the Visa halftime, Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Tony, the 49ers and Seahawks. We just got that update. And the Giants with an upset over the Bears with Chase Daniel at quarterback. Bears a great job to tie it at the end of regulation. But a 3-point win for New York. So far, Adam Thielen has been shut out. The league's top receiver with 93 catches on the season. There's Rudolph.
Thielen's in the slot on the opposite side. Those are the 2 targets generally.
Here's Diggs looking for blocking, cuts across the middle of the field, and he's down close to a first down. Timeout taken, the second by the Vikings, as Duron Harmon made that stop, and we'll be right back after this from Farmers Insurance and Verizon. Strong play by Diggs for a first down. He was a little gimpy when he got up. So he had to fight through some bodies to set up first and goal. Cousins 5 for 5 on the drive for 64 yards. Looking right all the way. There's Thielen. His first catch is a touchdown. And for Adam Thielen, his 9th of the year and catch number 94 on the season.
And they tried doubling him, Joe. They had Jason McCourty, who was to the outside. He's got inside help, but McCourty allows him to get to the corner. So even though they had 2 guys on him, Jason McCourty and Devin McCourty, his brother, Jason McCourty lets him get to the corner. And so even when you think you have the right call against the right receiver, he beats it.
Thielen's going so good this year. His first catch in this game's a touchdown. Then he beat the rundown in the hot box on the touchdown celebration. Here's another look that puts the Vikings on the board.
This guy is, obviously he's a great player, and you think about it, Joe, with the Minnesota Vikings. We showed Cordero Patterson. There's their celebration, but Cordero Patterson was a first-round pick for them, as was Laquan Treadwell. And neither guy really materialized, and Treadwell's still on the team, but just haven't gotten the production that you would hope. And you get a guy like Adam Thielen, who was an undrafted free agent, and then you pick up Diggs, who was a fifth-round pick in 2015, and you've got two of the best receivers in all of football. It's pretty remarkable how good these two guys have been.
Thielen is now 6 catches shy of the Vikings' first 100-catch season by a wide receiver since the great and now the Hall of Famer Randy Moss in '03. And when you play Brady at the end of a half or the end of the game, you want to do two things: get points. The Vikings have done that, and they've drained the clock. Where there's only 15 seconds left and counting. This is Patterson, the former Viking, out of bounds at the 40 with 7 seconds left. We'll see what the Patriots want to do here with a little bit of time, maybe one shot to get a long field goal try.
Yeah, and I think you look at this first half, and even though the Patriots had gone down and it was 10-0 prior to that, two big defensive plays. The play by Anthony Harris down at the goal line, which forced the Patriots to settle for a field goal instead of coming away with a touchdown down there. And then, of course, the challenge by Mike Zimmer and the key stop by Danielle Hunter, and then allowing the Vikings to get the ball and cut the gap to 3 points.
Patriots need about 20 yards for a 57, 58-yard field goal try, and they're not going to get it with Gronkowski over the middle here. And this important battle here in Foxborough in week number 13 is a 3-point game at the half. And now they're going to put time back on. So they're going to stop forward progress. And Bill Belichick is going to take his first time out, and they're going to try a throw down the field and hope for a defensive penalty. Players were willing to walk off. Broadcast was willing to send it to the Visa halftime. Bill Belichick was not. Let's see if that pays off. Underneath, James White. He's got to get in the end zone. Time has expired, and White is dumped by Harrison Smith at the 11.
Well, those are good stats. A nice thing for Tom Brady for his passing yardage.
42 yards are added to the passing yardage for Tom Brady. The play of the first half is presented by DirecTV. More for your thing. That's our thing. And it was Devlin with the only touchdown for the Patriots in the first half. They lead by 3. Vikings get momentum off a challenge by Zimmer and turn it into 7. Good one. Visa halftime coming up after this from your local Fox station. That was today's Game Flow, brought to you by Progressive, as we welcome you back to Foxborough, home of the Patriots. And, well, this is what we call our working shot. It's what you call us doing here is working. Joe and the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman and Mike Pereira. Our boss is back there. Lachlan Murdoch, and we're glad to have you with us. It's, I got the sense, Troy, you felt like watching that first half. New England dominated it, and yet they're only up by 3 points.
Yeah, it sure felt that way, and almost half of the Minnesota's yards came on that last drive that they had before the half with the touchdown to Thielen, and that's what happens, however, when you have to settle for a field goal like New England did when they were down there. Got a good ball game now going into this second half.
There will be returned by Cordero Patterson, who has one this year, 6 in his career, for a touchdown and out to the 36-yard line. Good starting field position after a return of 34 yards. And let's find out what Aaron Andrews learned at the half.
Mike Zimmer told me offensive and defensively, he felt like his team just needed to settle down. For the offense, he felt like they saw a lot of doubles. For the defense, a lot of misdirection and screens. He did say, look here in the second half for this offense to pick up the tempo. Bill Belichick, I did ask him why the Vikings were able to march down the field and score. He told me it was just a very bad 2 minutes. Joe?
It was a bad 2 minutes, and beating the blitz is what Kirk Cousins was doing the majority of that time on that final possession at the end of the first half. So here's Brady from the 36, a handoff to Sony James White, and White will carry for 4 yards to bring up second down and 6. What do you expect to see from this New England offense? Brady, as is usual, has been spreading it around, both handing it off to different guys and finding different receivers. This one off the right hand of James White, so 3rd and 6 in a blink.
Well, I think the key for them is what it was really in that first half. Converting here on 3rd down to start with to open this second half, and they did a pretty good job. There in that first half, they converted 63% of their 3rd downs, 5 for 8, which nobody has really been able to do against this defense. But they just have to continue to stay ahead of the chains, run the ball, the screen game we saw, some of the misdirection. You get one-dimensional and just start dropping back against this defense, you just do not have much of a chance.
White and Burkhead back there next to Brady at the start of the play, and nothing there. Good start for this Vikings defense as Brady just has to throw it away. James White the closest one to it. And it starts with a 3 and out here in the second half.
Well, they're going to try to run the screen game, and you're going to see the job that this defensive front, and that they pick it up and they just don't give them a chance whatsoever. It looked like that was Tom Johnson, number 96, and they just are so well coached, and they know that they do such a good job of getting pressure on quarterback. They're going to see a lot of screens. They feel it. He's played it very well.
Allen punts it. Driving Sherrills over to the sideline. We'll see where they put it. And as they do that, we will take a break. They're marking it back at the 17. That's where Kirk Cousins will have it down 3. Aerial coverage brought to you by State Farm as we welcome back to Foxborough. The Patriots lead by 3, but the Vikings defense just got 3 and out. The ball belongs to Minnesota back at their own 17. Play action from Cousins, well protected, but he checks it down to Dalvin Cook, who is up to the 20, a gain of 3. Thielen's got 1 catch. He made it count, but let's see how they've tried to stop him.
Yeah, and they really haven't done anything exotic. You know, we showed the double coverage on the touchdown that he beat, but for the most part, it's been one-on-one looks, and they've just done a good job on him. And then when he has won, there's been times when Cousins has gone elsewhere. Even on that last play, Cousins was wanting to go to Thielen, and Thielen had beaten McCourty, but decided to go elsewhere with the football. But they've been able to control both he and Diggs relatively well.
2nd down and 7. They hand to Cook. Cook gets 2. Landon Roberts on the stop. Look at the first half possessions for the Vikings, who started this game offensively with a football, and they went 3 and out. Punted the ball, then they missed the field goal. Then a couple more punts before that touchdown right at the end of the half.
Well, their first 11 plays of the game, they ran the ball 5 times, and that last run was just the 3rd rushing attempt since the 11th play of the game. So as expected, DeFilippo went heavy in the pass after the first few plays of this ball game.
3rd down and 5. Cousins throws. Thielen can't bring it in. A diving grab attempt by Adam Thielen, and off his hands, it's 4th down.
And this was a double once again. by the McCourty brothers, and they're expecting him to just try to get the necessary yardage for the first down. He takes it deep, and that was a golden opportunity right there. We've seen Thielen come down with a lot of those plays. Cousins just let him a little too much, but what a great call on 3rd and medium versus that double look.
Another punt from Matt Weil. Each side goes 3 out. Edelman with a little room in front of him. Good return into Vikings territory. Brought down by C.J. Ham, but there's a flag down back at the 20.
During the kick, holding, return team, number 36. It's a 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down, New England, timeout.
That takes a big bite out of the 20-yard return by Edelman. The call against Brandon King after Thielen came oh so close on a 3rd down try. Patriots have it up 3. Second possession here in the second half for the Patriots, still leading by 3. And movement by the offense.
False start. Offense, number 26. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Aaron Andrews, what do you have from down on the field?
Well, there was conversation at halftime for the defensive line that they shouldn't be frustrated that they didn't sack Tom Brady. And I spoke to Danielle Hunter before the game about it, and he said it's all about the pressure, not the sacks with Brady. The ends need to get to him. This guy does not like it when you get to his feet.
Well, this Minnesota team came in tied for the 3rd most sacks in the NFL with 36. Had 4 a week ago against Aaron Rodgers. Shut out so far. Brady throws, has Patterson, a bobble and a catch, and a salute from Cordero Patterson.
About that, so much of what they've done with Cordero Patterson. Let's take a closer look at it and make sure he caught it, and he sure does. It's a great job because that ball was underthrown by Brady. But Cordero Patterson has been primarily one of those receivers that they throw the quick passing game to, get the ball in his hands. He's not, and that was some of what held him back in Minnesota. He's not a guy who's just going to typically beat you running routes. So as a defense, you're expecting the quick passing game to him, and then he runs the corner, makes a nice play on the ball.
On first down, the handoff here is to Michelle, and Sony Michel takes it to the 45. Patterson spent 4 years with the Vikings, had 132 catches for a first-round pick, caught 7 touchdowns. Just over 1,300 yards receiving over those 4 years. Did have 5 kick returns for touchdowns, but a disappointment as a wide receiver.
Well, he's a remarkable athlete at 230 pounds, and he runs a 4.4 40, so he can fly.
2nd and 3. Brady has Devlin, the fullback. And Devlin's got a first down. Hit by Holton Hill, a gain of 9.
We heard Aaron Andrews' report on the Minnesota defensive front, Danielle Hunter, and trying to get to Tom Brady. And we've talked about it before when it comes to Brady and how good he is at getting the ball out of his hands. This offensive line, they're a good group. I mean, they're not a dominant group, but they do a good job overall, both run blocking and pass protection. But Brady just simply refuses to take sacks and negative plays.
Hand off to White. James White gets hit at the 31. Patriots have not turned the ball over in 4 games coming in. And Brady, after not being sacked at the Jets last week, has been sacked only 16 times now as he and the Patriots play in their 12th game.
You know, he's obviously a great player, but when as a former quarterback, when you watch him and how he plays the position and understanding how to help his teammates, it's as good as there is.
Here's Sony Michel, 3rd and short coming up. But a flag is down on the play.
Holding. Offense, number 87. 10-yard penalty, replay. 2nd down.
That's the 2nd penalty against Gronkowski in the game and his first hold. And he had a hold of the jersey of Danielle Hunter.
Yeah, he did. Double fistful.
So 2nd down and 15.
Well, there was a game I watched Tom Brady play a few years ago where the offensive line was really beat up. A lot of young players playing. They couldn't block the defense at all. He just simply refused to take a sack, got rid of the ball whenever there was pressure in his face, and then occasionally he'd be able to make a play, make someone miss, and they go down the field and they win the football game. And those are the things that he's capable of doing and knows how to do.
2nd down and 13. Here's White. And back to a 3rd and medium we would have had before. Let's go to Kurt with a game break.
Well, Seattle started off the second half with an 85-yard kickoff return by Tyler Lockett. One play later, Rashad Penny finishes it off. 20-yard touchdown run. Seahawks on cruise control right now, very early in the second half, up 27-3. Joe Troy, Aaron.
Kurt, thanks. So Rashad Penny, their first-round pick, is getting hot here in the second half. 3rd down and 5. Handoff hit by Harrison Smith and Kendricks, and White tries to fight for the first down, but he's a yard short. It'll be 4th down, and we'll see what Bill Belichick wants to do.
Well, that's a couple times now we've seen. That was a big-time collision, too, with Harrison Smith in on the tackle. I think he's the one who made first contact. They've run the ball now on, typically you'd say in that down and distance you're going to throw it. They picked it up the first time they tried, and now they're going to go for it here on 4th.
With Sony Michel, the rookie, in the backfield. They're going to throw. Hogan fights for it and got it. And happy about
it. That's a much more difficult throw to make than what people would generally think when you're talking about a 1-yard pass, but it's a little high, not bad. You want to hit it a little, but don't make him have to adjust his body in order to pick that up. If you do, he doesn't make the first down. Hogan makes a nice catch on the ball, and just well done by Tom Brady and him.
2nd catch of the game for Hogan. Only 4 catches over the previous 4 games coming in, and a flag down with Joe Tooney saying, I didn't do anything.
Holding offense, number 62. 10-yard penalty, still 1st down.
He knew it was on him, though, didn't he?
Yeah,
as soon as the flag came out, he was looking at. I don't know. I think Joe. I think he got caught. He had his arms around Sheldon Richardson. Certainly understandable. Sheldon Richardson is a load there in the middle, coming off a good game himself last week against the Packers with a couple sacks and tied for a game-high 7 tackles. If the Patriots are able to overcome that holding penalty like they did with Gronkowski.
Kill!
So 1st and 20, handoff to White, got a yard. There's a great article written, came out today, Mark Craig of the Star Tribune, about Sheldon Richardson and how he has grown up over the years. Former first-rounder by the Jets, a guy who's played against the Patriots over the years, 2 and 6 in his career against New England. Does have a sack and a half against Tom Brady, but he said, me now, as a 28-year-old, would smack the 24-year-old me in the back of the head and say, wake up. It's not all about you and your feelings. It's a good piece. Worth a read for any Vikings fan, as Richardson is on a 1-year prove-it deal, and starting to prove it. A gain of 4 here by James White.
Yes, he is. And when we visited with Mike Zimmer a few weeks ago, I asked him about Sheldon Richardson, and he said, in training camp and in the preseason, he just kind of thought, wow, he really wasn't doing too much and wasn't real sure exactly what he had. And then when they got into the regular season, he's been playing really pretty phenomenal this year for this defensive front. He's a force inside.
Patriots are inside field goal range, but facing 3rd and 15. Brady steps into it, broken up. Play made by Alexander. Gronkowski was the target, and Mackenzie Alexander flashed through there and knocked it away.
Well, Mackenzie Alexander, he makes a play on it. Gronkowski doesn't work back to the ball. You see him drifting up the field, which allows Alexander then to be able to lay out. That's a great job by Alexander, but Gronkowski's trying to hold the first down yardage, And the only chance they had of completing that was if he had worked back through the ball to Brady.
48-yard try by Gostkowski, and he pushes it wide to the right. 4 for 4 in that range prior to that effort. Stays a 3-point game. We were there at Super Bowl 51 in Houston, Texas, when President Bush came out and was a part of the coin flip ceremony. Passed away on Friday in Houston at the age of 94, George Herbert Walker Bush.
Hey, kill! 5-4 orange!
Vikings have the football, down by 3, and Dalvin Cook will carry for a first down, but a flag is thrown on the play after a carry of 12 yards.
Holding offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty still, first down.
First of all, it was a really well done and no surprise tribute from Jim Nantz on CBS earlier. Very close with the Bush family. And the senior Bush was known as a Texan there as a young man, but he was born in Massachusetts, raised in Connecticut, kept a family home in Kennebunkport, Maine. World War II veteran, former director of the CIA, 2-term vice president, 41st president of the United States, lost on Friday. Here's Aldrick Robinson with a catch. And Robinson out across the 35 to the 38, a gain of 8.
Well, that time things opened up for Aldrick Robinson because of Adam Thielen. And they are trying to get underneath him and not allow them to get the ball down the field. And then things were soft and were able to get some positive yardage.
On second down, good throw by Cousins as he guns it into Aldrick Robinson to bring up 3rd and short, a gain of 8.
Aldrick Robinson is a guy who was added after the season got going. When he was released by the 49ers, he had a relationship with Cousins back in Washington. Cousins kind of pushed for him to be there. They went out and got him.
Blitz, quick throw. Robinson, what a catch. He gets the first down as he is able to hang on and survive the hit from J.C. Jackson. Strong catch.
Yeah, a couple nice blocks now by Dalvin Cook on these blitzes. He's been able to get in there and keep the hits off of Cousins. And Cousins, I'm not even certain that he had the laces on that one. He's just trying to get it out. And you're right. Really nice adjustment by Aldrick Robinson.
Showing blitz again. Couple back out of there, and Cousins throws it into the ground with Robinson crossing in front of him. It'll be 2nd and 10. This January on Fox comes a thrilling new series from executive producer Ridley Scott and starring Mark Paul Gosselaar. One Girl Save Humanity, based on the best-selling trilogy The Passage, premieres this January on Fox. 2nd down and 10 here for Minnesota, down by 3 with the ball sitting at midfield.
Well, I'd say overall this offensive line and how they've protected Kirk Cousins, they've held up better than I thought they would, especially inside, because this is where they're wanting to attack him.
Passes to Diggs, who in traffic makes a nice catch. I know you, Troy, as a quarterback, like those guys that'll go across the middle and make a catch like that, a gain of 5.
No doubt. This offensive line, like I said, they're pressuring the inside guys, and Dante Hightower comes in, but gets the hit on Cousins. That's a really good route by Diggs, setting up the defender, and then knowing he's got to make a play with contact, and now a 3rd down. This New England defense has been awfully good tonight. Now they got Trey Flowers on the nose. See if Elflein can hold up.
3rd down and 5. Throw to the sideline. Pass is caught. Rudolph out of bounds right at the marker. And it's enough for a first down. And right now the ruling is a catch. That ball popped out once Rudolph hopped out of bounds. Melifonwu, who was just added to this Patriots secondary, was there to force him out. Watch, this ball will end up out of there after the catch, the feet, and a challenge here from Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I think this is a worthwhile challenge.
We'll take a break. We'll look at it plenty during the break. Come back and get the call when we return. Well, as is new this year, they make the call during the break. Mike Pereira, they say the ruling on the field stands, and this is a first down. Do you agree?
And the reason they did, it's a tight play, but he actually got both feet down, started to tuck the ball away. The third step came just as the ball was getting knocked out. So that third step being a football move, along with starting to bring it down to your body, that's why it stayed as incomplete.
It is amazing, Mike, the cottage industry that you have started. You've got fans in front of the booth looking up at you. You've got the people in the Patriots radio booth to your right looking in here.
I don't look back.
No. Here's Dalvin Cook cutting back. And Cook has got a first down and more. Big run and a good block by Stephon Diggs to help on the 18-yard carry.
You see Riley Reef, the left tackle, and the job that he does, he helps with his left guard, but then he comes up to the next level, and he takes on Landon Roberts, and that allows the cutback. And then you've got some blocking then on the outside as well. That's a good design. There was a nice cutback lane created by the scheme. Now they're starting to get back to at least some of these rushing attempts that they had in the early going.
That's a third good run by Cook. Here's Thielen, end zone, a lot of contact, looking for a flag, doesn't get it. J.C. Jackson was defending for the Patriots. And Thielen looked like he was starting to argue on his way to the ground.
Well, I think Thielen was, I think he went into him trying to get the call. The way I see it is Thielen was in it. There was pretty good defensive position, and Thielen then initiates the contact.
Mike, what did you think of that no call?
Right two! Right two!
Absolutely the same as Troy. That was good defense. He moved into the defender, actually, and they did a great job of leaving that alone.
So now second down and 10. Pass is caught by Murray. Hasn't been used much in this game. Roberts there to force him out back to that play in the end zone.
Yeah, you go back and take a look at it, and J.C. Jackson, the young corner, you know, he looked like he was in really good position. Thielen knows he's going to have a hard time making a play on the ball. He's a veteran guy, so you know, he tries to get the call. That's a pretty good assignment right there for J.C. Jackson, going one-on-one with the league's leading receiver.
A rookie free agent from Maryland against a rookie veteran receiver. Minnesota State. Here's a 3rd and 8. Good protection. End zone. Robinson incomplete. Jackson back there again. Just about the same spot, and it's 4th down for Minnesota.
Well, Kirk Cousins knows he's got a young player out there, so they go after him one more time. Let's see if he can hold up a second time. And you know, with Robinson on the inside track, the only real shot they had was trying to drive it in on a line and stick it on him. But another great play by the rookie.
39-yard try by Bailey. And this game is tied. Minnesota looking for more. I would say they're a little frustrated on offense, pleading their cases to no avail. Tie game, late 3rd quarter. Well, a tie game after a couple of cracks at the end zone by this Vikings offense. The dangerous Cordero Patterson waits for the kick from Bailey. He'll touch it out to the 25. This weekend, NFL players are showcasing their passion beyond the game by letting their cleats do the talking. As part of My Cause, My Cleats, they're supporting charitable causes through custom-designed cleats. Discover how players are making a difference in their communities and bid on their special edition cleats at NFL.com/MyCauseMyCleats. And those are the cleats of Adam Thielen, with a shout out to the show coach. As the pass is caught first of the game by Josh Gordon, And the big-bodied receiver spins and takes it all the way to the New England 49, good for 24.
Well, they brought blitz the opposite side, so now you got Marcus Sherrills and Josh Gordon, and when you don't make that tackle, you make the tackle, it's a minimum gain. Man-to-man, you miss that tackle, and then you're just hoping somebody's going to come help you out, which Anthony Barr is able to do.
8th different receiver Brady has found. First catch for Gordon, 24 yards, first down at their own 49. Brady throws. Gronkowski gets cut down with a first down as the ball comes out, but after Gronkowski was ruled to have been downed by contact on a hit by Harrison Smith, and Gronk gets up limping.
Well, Brady, he sees the two-deep look, and with the safeties and Gronkowski, he knows immediately he's taking the middle of the field. That's the weakness within that defense, and they hit it.
Handoff is to White with another first down pickup. 3 plays in a row, 3 big chunks of yardage. And the Patriots are already inside the Minnesota 25-yard line.
Well, they changed up tempo a little bit. They went back to the line of scrimmage, and now you've got Gronkowski. He's been, boy, what a tough year it's been on him. And he's been banged up, came back last week. And Joe Geit's just 29 years old. His body has been through a lot. That started back in college. You just wonder how much longer he's going to be able to hold up.
3 plays, 24 yards, 15 yards, 12 yards. Brady throws another big one. Gordon for the touchdown. Yards for the go-ahead score.
Well, the only guy who was going to be able to take it away was Eric Kendricks, the linebacker, and you're going to see there they are in zone coverage, and it's just a hole within that zone, too deep look, and nobody's carrying him up the field. It's pretty easy, and Brady doing an excellent job of navigating the rush.
And a drive that started and ended with a 24-yard completion to Gordon puts the Patriots up by 7. We'll be right back after this from Citizen. Josh Gordon, that's his 4th touchdown as a New England Patriot. Started the year in Cleveland, the former All-Pro, and a guy who hasn't played a lot of football over the last handful of years, but that touchdown throw by Brady ties him with Brett Favre on the all-time touchdown list at 508. That's good for a tie for 3rd behind Peyton Manning. It ties Manning on the top of the list for all-time touchdown throws when you add in postseason. And so when you take a look at Tom Brady, and it helps when your team is there year after year after year, but Brady, the main reason why he's now at 579 to tie Peyton Manning is Tom Brady just continues to put up big numbers. They are gunning for their 9th straight first-round bye here with the Patriots.
They've only missed the playoffs 3 times in the Brady-Belichick era. Pretty incredible.
Brady's played in 37 career postseason games. Nobody more. Here is Cousins airing it out. Nobody's there. Aldrick Robinson was the closest to it. 2nd and 10.
I do think, Joe, if you look at Minnesota defensively, first of all, Xavier Rhodes, as we know, he's dealing with that hamstring. He's been on the pitch count, as Aaron Andrews has talked about. It has been primarily the rookie free agent Holton Hill and then Marcus Sherrills, and they're way down on their list of corners, and there's only they're only going to hold up for so long with Tom Brady at quarterback, and that last possession he went right through him.
29 seconds left in quarter number 3. Here's Murray left side. 3rd down and 5 coming up. Well, this is an opportunity with the Bears' loss earlier today in overtime to the Giants. Vikings trying to get to 7-4-1, and on the other side you've got a New England team in that race for a first-round bye, which goes to the top 2 teams in the conference. They're trying to win tonight, get to 9-3, and they have the head-to-head matchup advantage as they beat Houston week 1. So off we go into quarter number 4. Third down for Minnesota. When we come back, trailing by 7, back after this from your local Fox station. Well, it's not that cold, but it's been a nasty day weather-wise with mist, and it's falling again here as we start the fourth quarter on America's Game of the Week, and a 3rd and 5 for the Vikings, down by 7. Cousins is sacked. Trey Flowers. And a loss of 10 on the sack by 98.
Well, he comes around. You're going to see the game that they run, and then he's got a straight shot on Cousins. It was a good design. They show an all-out zero blitz. They pull out. There's still no middle safety, but they double quickly to the outside. Cousins thought that he could get the ball out quickly, just nowhere to go with it, and then Flowers collapses the pocket.
That gives Trey 4.5 sacks on the year. He's their best pass rusher. He showed it there.
That was a great design there on 3rd down by New England.
Weil hits a beauty. Edelman back inside the 30. Weatherly can't bring him down, and Edelman gets to midfield. 23-yard return by the veteran Julian Edelman. Here's Kurt with a game break.
Okay. Well, he's not Brady or Manning, but Patrick Mahomes is the fastest quarterback to throw 40 touchdowns in a season. This is only week 12, and that one to Demetrius Harris is his 40th. Kansas City up 33-16 over the Raiders right now. Joe, Troy, and Aaron?
On their way to a 10-2 record. As you see the Thursday night schedule on Fox coming up. Jaguars at Tennessee, followed by the LA Chargers at Kansas City. Our final Thursday night telecast of the season should be huge in the AFC West. Here's Gordon. Flags. Holton Hill in coverage. Gordon trying to get back to the ball, and he was interfered with.
Pass interference. Defense, number 24. The ball will be placed in the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
That's a good call. You know, he's trying to come back to the ball, and Holton Hill grabs him and wraps him up. And you know, like I talked about, he's played a lot for a guy that's as young as he is. When you know, Hughes went down, Xavier Rhodes has missed some time, Trey Waynes missed time again tonight, and Hill has gotten some playing time, but he's a young player, and against a guy like Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, he's going to find the weaknesses, and he has found them. And between he and Sherrill, they're starting to have a hard time holding up.
Here's Edelman underneath. Hill is there, but a nice gain on first down of 7. Josh Gordon was not targeted prior to the last time the Patriots had the football. And he started the drive and ended the drive with 24-yard catches, the last one for a touchdown. And now they go to him for that pass interference call on Holton Hill. It's almost like they save weapons as the game goes along, and then when you forget about somebody, they pop up and beat it. 2nd down and 3. Michelle. Depends on where they put it. Eric Kendricks with the tackle. Looked like he was short. Inches short, it appears, and it is. 3rd down coming up. Vikings beat Green Bay last Sunday night. They're here in Foxborough. They're in Seattle next week. Tough stretch. Hand off for the first down to Sony Michel. How about the backfield for the Georgia Bulldogs? Sony Michel, 31st pick in the draft, and then 4 picks later, it was Nick Chubb, who's now starring for the Cleveland Browns. 2 guys who took over when Todd Gurley went down with a torn ACL in his last stages of his college career. That is some kind of run at the running back position.
That's right, and I know that last night's game with the Georgia Bulldogs, a big disappointment for all those Georgia fans. It looked like they might come away with that one, but a big win for Alabama.
Here's a catch by Michelle, and that's a lot of what he did back at Georgia. He could run it, obviously. A threat catching the ball. And he's good here for 8 yards as Eric Kendricks brings him down.
Yeah, that's not where he's been really utilized much here in New England in his first season. Last week he had 2 catches. That was a season high for him. So he hasn't been much of a receiving threat. That will increase, though. That's not unusual for a young player.
Brady at 300 yards for the game plus. This is Gordon. Down near the 1.5. 1st and goal. We were here, Troy, shortly after they picked up in a deal with Cleveland Josh Gordon. I wasn't convinced it was going to work. He's been phenomenal here with the Patriots.
Yeah, he has been good. He was injured when he first got here, so they had to be smart with how they utilized him. And then it's hard for a receiver, for a guy who hadn't played much football. And you change teams in the middle of the season. Hard to get acclimated, but he's getting more and more comfortable.
Here's Devlin, gets another. His 2nd of the game. And the Patriots open it up here in the 4th quarter, up by 2 scores.
I told you he's going to be on some fantasy teams after he scored his last one here tonight. This is about as good as it gets when you're a fullback for any team in this league. And here he is, James Devlin, with 3 carries and 3 touchdowns on the season. I've always liked him. Those type of guys, he's a Bill Belichick type player, that he's versatile. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can make the tough yards like that. And he's a heck of a blocker.
And he's smart. He went to Brown. Belichick, he likes the smart ones. A 2-touchdown game. Patriots up 24-10. Great John Hanna. Great offensive lineman in the history of this game. It's America's game of the week, and the Patriots are now leading by 14 points. Vikings need an answer. 50-yard drive that was set up by that 23-yard punt return by Julian Edelman. Amir Abdullah from around the goal line cuts back. Brought down at the 29. How about the early game headlines here in Week 13? The Giants upset the Bears. Again, Chicago played without Trubisky. They win in overtime, the Giants do. The Rams beat the Lions, so right now they're the #1 seed in the NFC. And what the Texans are doing is just awesome, and a credit to Bill O'Brien, Deshaun Watson. Started 0-3, they won 9 in a row. On 1st down, Cousins pulls it down, finds Diggs, short gain of 3. As both Hightower and Van Oy were in there for the tackle. We'll give him 4 with progress, so 2nd and 6.
Well, now they got Dalvin Cook. He's in the lineup. The last possession they went with Latavius Murray. The last couple of carries that Cook has had, he's had some success.
Pass caught by Thielen. Thielen lunges. We'll see where they put it. Just about a half-yard short. Kind of shorted the story with Adam Thielen and the cleats. He's wearing a pair of Coach-themed cleats from the television show based at Minnesota State. Thielen's alma mater, the real Minnesota State, #1 in the country, and advanced to the NCAA Division II semifinals with a win yesterday. And so he is representing his school. Minnesota born and bred. Here's Cook. Spins away. And now reaches. Looks to be short. first guy that blew up the play was Adrian Claiborne. It looks to be 4th down. And it is.
That's an amazing run by Cook to even get to that point. Adrian Claiborne looked like he had him all the way, and then Lawrence Guy, he comes in as well right there, and he's dragging him a little bit, and looked like he might have a shot at it, but comes up short.
The elbow's down there, and then that reach across that yellow line. And he looks to be about half a yard short, according to that yellow line. Hey. 4th down, so what does Mike Zimmer want to do? I mean, you punt it back to Tom Brady, you might as well say night-night. I think he is compelled to go for it.
I think you go for it here. I really do. I know there's a lot of time left in this ball game. You're down 14. There's John DeFilippo. There's no question that you have the ball in your possession. If you can't pick this up 4th and inches, you don't deserve to win the game. But you certainly don't want to punt it back to Brady and risk giving up any more points, let alone time off the clock. Fill the gaps in here. Right there. They're going to fill them up and try to keep Cousins from sneaking it.
Murray gets it and is stood up. Guy was in there for the Patriots. Trey Flowers as well. And it did not look like he picked it up, but now the indication is with teams changing personnel, they're going to give forward progress for the 1st down. That's interesting.
It's real interesting.
Well, I didn't see that.
I didn't see it either. Lawrence Guy, he moves Elfline and just does an outstanding job of completely stoning Latavius Murray.
I think it was a shock to the players. They were switching personnel, and
Bill's looking for his red hanky.
And enthusiastically, he tosses it onto the turf. A challenge from Belichick. And now he's into it with Adam Thielen. Well, we'll go through the challenge and the play. They've already said that the call stands. Remember, the call on the field was that he got the 1st down. There has not been a look definitive enough to say that he didn't. I think it was a surprise, certainly to all of us in the booth, and then to the Patriots players, and I think some of the Vikings players as they were switching personnel. And Thielen came over and got into a shouting match with Belichick, but with no other real definitive look, they give the 1st down and stay with the call. Cousins flips it. Dalvin Cook tripped up by Van Noy.
Well, you saw Bill Belichick when he was notified that they were not going to reverse the call. What a surprise that was to him, to everybody really that saw it. It looked like another bad spot, and I tell you, Lawrence Guy and Trey Flowers there in the middle, both of them did an excellent job, as good a job as you can do in that situation to make a play.
Now 2nd down and 6. The pass caught by Aldrick Robinson. So with that call on the field and no visual evidence to change it, we'll see if the Vikings take advantage of it as they get 10 yards here and another 1st down.
Well, their best drive in the 1st half came at the end of the 1st half when they went into the no huddle and they were able to go right through the defense. And now with time an issue and certainly down 2 scores, off they go, and they're getting something going again.
Extra men on the rush, and here's Thielen who drops it. A rare occurrence by the sure-handed Adam Thielen. 2nd and 10.
Well, you don't see this very often. He's about as sure-handed as they come, and had a chance to run with it even after the catch had he had made it.
You know, both guys who were in that argument, Thielen and Belichick, would downplay it after the game. That was heat of the moment in a big spot, and the Vikings got the call. Second down and 10. No challenges left for Bill Belichick, by the way. Pass is out of the reach of Thielen. A flag is down as Claiborne was looking for a hold against Minnesota.
The flag came in late, too.
And it is a hold against the Vikings.
Holding. Offense, number 71. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
Riley Reef, number 71. He's holding Adrian Claiborne, and that was a good call. This New England defensive front gotten 2 sacks, but they've, as I said earlier, they have at times done a really nice job throughout the season getting pressure on quarterbacks, and it just hasn't always showed up in the sack department. But they've been able to harass Cousins a little bit here tonight.
They forced 3 holding calls against this Vikings offensive line on top of it. Second and 20. Cousins, Thielen makes the catch over near Belichick, and he's wrapped up. Good sure-handed tackle by Jason McCourty. Gain of 4. Third down and 16 coming up.
Well, they've got a couple 20-yard completions. The longest one was to Diggs at 24 yards. And other than that, a lot of really underneath throws, a lot of short throws on these completions, but they're going to serve 4-down territory, but they've got to get something going here.
They need a chunk of it here on third down. Pass is caught by Thielen. Cannot break a tackle. Jason McCourty. Good play, and that brings up fourth down again. A gain of just 5, 4th and 11.
That's a couple of plays now, the last 2, where the Vikings have gotten the ball, and it's just been good tackling by this defense.
The Vikings need another conversion.
Yeah, and like I talked about, the Patriots have struggled throughout the season on third down, but they've pretty much shut Minnesota down on third down. Of course, now it's being fourth down.
Thielen just 4 catches for 19 yards and a touchdown. Pass is underneath, caught but well short by Laquan Treadwell. And the Patriots take over on downs. A gain of 4, and he was hoping, Cousins was, that Treadwell could break a tackle, but Gilmore brought him down.
Yeah, that's a smart job by Bill Belichick in this defense. They bring pressure. They double out here on Thielen, and then they've got one-on-one at the bottom. So he gets the ball out quick. It's what he has to do. They can't block them all, and then it's just another sure tackle by the Patriots.
Patriots take over on downs, leading by 14, and they hand it to Burkhead. We welcome in a new audience as we just saw Rex Burkhead carry it forward for 3. This was a 3-point game at the half with the Patriots up. We had a tie at 10-10 as the Vikings got the first points of this second half, but since then 2 touchdowns from New England and Tom Brady, leading 24-10 with 5.5 to go. Harrison Smith coming on a blitz, got there late. Pass is picked, intercepted by Kendricks, and exactly what Minnesota needed to try to get back in it. That's his first of the year. Harrison Smith delivered the hit. Brady throws the pick, and the Vikings have it down 14. You see on that stat, first pick in the last 183 pass attempts for the Patriots as a team. Their first turnover in the last 5 games now, and it comes at a great time for the Vikings, trying to hang in it down by 14 points.
Yeah, right 3.
Eric Kendricks all over the place in this game. Career best 14 tackles, and now his first interception of the year. From the 45, Cousins, well protected, finds Cook. And a minimal gain for Dalvin Cook of 4. Back to the pick.
Well, this should have been picked up because they moved the center to that side, and so Trent Brown, he busts the protection. He should have fanned it to the outside, picked up the blitzer, Harrison Smith, and then Brady has time in the pocket, and he makes a more accurate throw. But the pressure from Smith caused the throw to be behind in the interception.
Good strong throw to Treadwell, who moments ago made that 4th down catch well short of first down yardage. He's got a first down here with a completion of 9 from Kirk Cousins. And out of bounds, stopping the clock at 4:50. The Vikings with all 3 of their timeouts left.
Yeah, New England just not giving up any plays really to speak of down the field. Cousins with some time to try to find somebody, but has had to come underneath.
Here's one down the field for Robinson. Batted and picked off by Deron Harmon. J.C. Jackson was back there for the Patriots as well. But Harmon gets it and has his 2nd interception of the year.
Well, it was an out and up. It looked, Aldrick Robinson had him. He's beyond him, but Cousins just unable to get the ball out far enough. Robinson is a guy who can really motor. But if he lays that out and lets Robinson go get it, it's a touchdown. But J.C. Jackson, boy, he has made some plays in this game.
A free agent rookie, Troy, and I think another guy that goes on that list. J.C. Jackson, of somebody who's being created here with the New England Patriots by Bill Belichick.
Belichick really likes him. He was telling me that, yeah, he's going to make some mistakes, but he rarely makes the same mistake twice. Very smart player. And I know that he's grown in the eyes of Bill Belichick here tonight.
Here is Michelle carrying for a loss of a yard, and a flag is thrown. Here's the call.
Illegal hands to the face. Defense, number 94. The 5-yard penalty added to the end of the run, automatic first down.
And that's the left arm and hand up by Jaleel Johnson.
Going back to J.C. Jackson, he's a guy that can really run too. He's got good size at 6'1" and 200 pounds, and the fact that Aldrick Robinson was able to get in behind him, at knowing how fast he is, tells you all you need to know about Robinson's speed and why Cousins maybe underthrew it.
Toss to Sony Michel. Keep the clock winding. Kurt, you have some news for us here in Week 13.
Yes, with only 4 wins on the season and a loss today to Arizona, the Green Bay Packers have fired Mike McCarthy as their head coach. Obviously, his strained relationship with Aaron Rodgers is a little bit too much to overcome. Joe Philbin has been named interim coach in his place. Joe, Troy, Aaron?
All right, Kurt, we've spent a lot of time with both Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy over the years. I've been nothing but impressed every time you and I walk out of a production meeting with Mike McCarthy.
He won't be out of work long. I can guarantee he'll be receiving some calls from teams that will be looking for head coaches. Joe, the guy's done nothing but win. I think, I hate to say it, but Mike McCarthy deserves better. And I also know that if there was pressure on Aaron Rodgers before, there really is now, because this has been discussed throughout the season and his unhappiness and a lot of speculation about Mike McCarthy's future for the only reason in the relationship with him and his quarterback. And whoever they bring in is probably going to be someone that Aaron Rodgers approves of. And for a guy who's the highest paid player in the league, the pressure just got even more so.
Here's Devlin, who's got 2 touchdowns in the game on 3rd down and inches. It looked like he picked it up, and the official says he did. First down with 3 minutes left.
When you start looking around the league, too, at guys who I think are candidates for head coaching jobs, this guy right here is at the top of my list, John DeFilippo. I think he's done a really nice job in visiting with him and his philosophy and the things that he's able to do as a bright young mind at the offensive position.
if you have a young quarterback, and maybe even a veteran quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, who knows? But if you have a young quarterback and you're looking to try to simulate what they've done in Los Angeles, I think John DeFilippo is worth taking a look at.
Here's a handoff to Michelle with under 2.5 to go. You know what's going to come out of this game, though. Part of the conversation coming in, certainly into the game last week, was the play calling. And for Minnesota, they've run it 13 times in this game, thrown it 44 times in this game. And after the early runs, there was a stretch there where they did not run the ball, and that'll be a topic of conversation again.
Yeah, and I think rightfully so tonight. I think there's been other times when they have thrown the ball and they've had to throw the ball. At the end of last week's game, they had to throw the ball in order to have a chance to continue to pick up first downs. They couldn't move anybody, and they've had a hard time moving people, really throughout this season running the football. Tonight wasn't necessarily one of those nights. I agree that they probably got a little heavy with the pass, but I do think that he's done a good job for this Minnesota team. The other guy, too, let's not forget Josh McDaniels, who had a job a year ago and then backed out of it, but he'll be another hot candidate as well.
2nd down and 5. Here's Edelman with a first down and more. And stays in. They're going to mark him out as he must have just caught the edge of the boundary around the 38-39 yard line. And a flag is down in that same spot.
Holding. Offense, number 87. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul still results in a first down.
That's another hold against Rob Gronkowski as he grabbed the shoulder pads of Harrison Smith.
Gronk, what a beast he is. He's had a few of those, and he is really something. A guy that size that can run the way that he's able to, and see that big brace he has to wear on his elbow, and he missed time with that. And of course, the back surgeries that he's had. Sometimes it's a wonder he even was able to come out and play.
78 career touchdown receptions, number 3 all-time by a tight end in NFL history. For Gronkowski, his personality is larger than life, and carried by Sony Michel for 6, and that will take us to the 2-minute warning. Tom Brady and the Patriots celebrating here on the 2nd of December. Fire the muskets. The Patriots lead by 14. This game was tied in the second half by the Vikings as they got the first 3 points after halftime, but now it's a 14-point game. Here is Michel, who will go out of bounds and stop the clock with a first down for New England. Coming up next is the OT presented by Lowe's. We've got a New England team on their way to 9-3. Kansas City 10-2. Right now it's New England in the number 2 spot, as we said earlier, and it's worth noting, at least at the moment, in position for their 9th straight first-round bye.
That's, there's so much about this organization you can't get your head around, but that maybe being at the top of the list.
Flag down on that carry by the rookie Michel.
Holding. Offense, number 60. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
How about they've been in 7 straight AFC championship games and 12 in the 16 years that Tom Brady's been the starting quarterback.
I said it back early in the season when we had them, and I said then at the time that the New England Patriots are the safest bet in sports, and they have been year in and year out. Last year they started the year out 2-2. They finished 13-3 and make it to the Super Bowl, and then this year they begin the year 1-2, and everyone's starting to question again whether or not the dynasty is over, and yet it just continues to roll.
Here's Devlin, the fullback, and Troy's pick to click on his fantasy team in 2019. The Raiders, by the way, have the football late in that Chiefs game, so we showed that graphic, we gave the Patriots the win. The Chiefs are on their way to win number 10. But remember, as the Patriots try to chase them down, they have the head-to-head advantage with that victory back in mid-October, and they beat the Texans week 1 by 7 points. So that's their biggest threat. Those two teams going down the stretch here for that first round bye.
I tell you, the Texans have probably been the biggest surprise to me. They started 0-3, and you remember when Frank Reich and the Colts went for it in overtime and wanted to try to win rather than have a tie.
Here's Burkhead taking it inside the 40, and timeout taken by Minnesota, their final one.
And that's when the Houston Texans won their first game to go 1-3, and it didn't look good for the next few weeks as far as what kind of team they were going to be. They were struggling offensively, and you watch them now, and they're obviously playing with a great deal of confidence. What Bill O'Brien and that staff has done is really pretty impressive. We got a chance to watch them on Thursday night. Deshaun Watson, boy, he put on a show that night.
It's just fun to watch. And he's played these Patriots twice. He's given them all they can handle in a couple of games. His rookie year last year and then week 1. But it wasn't right. That wasn't the Deshaun Watson that we're seeing now. Coming back from that torn ACL. Here's Burkhead on 3rd down and 12. It'll be 4th down. Minnesota out of timeouts. As this one is winding down, just to put some numbers on what we said about Mike McCarthy, who is as classy a guy as we've come across in the NFL in our years covering this league. 12+ years, 8 10-win seasons, a Super Bowl win 2010, 3 NFC champ games. Last year was 7-9, and the crack started to show. 4-7-1, but I couldn't agree with you more. We will know for sure that his phone will be ringing soon for some team looking to help them turn it around. Smart, good man. Punt into the end zone off the foot of Allen. And out to the 20. Will be on Thursday in Nashville. Thursday Night Football on Fox. Tennessee just beat the Jets 26-22. Jacksonville shut out Indianapolis 6-0. And so that means that it'll be the 6-6 Titans taking on the Jaguars, who earlier in the year beat New England, coming into that game on Thursday with a record of 4-8. 48 seconds left. Vikings down 14, no timeouts, throw over the middle, pass caught by Thielen, who for the most part in this game has been shut down. He does have the touchdown, but Bill Belichick devised a plan that for the most part shut down one of the game's best.
Yeah, and I would put Diggs in that category as well. I don't think either one of them did enough to do any real damage.
Here's an interception by Jones, and Jonathan Jones walks on his knees after another takeaway for this Patriots defense. And that's 2 interceptions thrown by Kirk Cousins in this one.
Yeah, this one here, this situation in the game, you're just trying to get a big chunk, and that was Thielen who was trying to sit it down, but he doesn't work back to the football either, and Jones there to make the interception.
His 3rd pick of the year. Deron Harmon has the other here tonight. And coming off a turnover-free game against the Green Bay Packers, a game they really needed. A couple of turnovers here tonight by Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and it doesn't get any easier for the Vikings having to travel to Seattle next week.
So who knows how this NFC playoff picture will shake out as Bill Belichick comes to midfield to find Kirk Cousins. And then 2 Bill Parcells proteges will shake hands. A lot of respect between those two, but it's Bill Belichick and the Patriots getting a 14-point win as they move to 9-3. They've won 8 of 9. Coming up next, it's the OT presented by Lowe's. Good night from Foxborough.